Hi, I'm Besley Scott, and the business that was selected for me was Picnic Point. Really quite excited by the opportunity to deliver something to Picnic Point. And in that I'd heard Catherine's story personally as a friend, but through this process with the Arts Council, I was also fortunate to be there during the recording, and then I utilised the recording on the website a couple of times as well, just to reinforce what I thought were the key concepts to develop for Catherine and her story of depiction for the mosaic. Catherine was fortunate in that herself and a couple of employees worked diligently through the floods to keep the floodwater at bay, I suppose, so that it didn't come through and do any material damage to their business, or because of it, the water had have got into their function centre, it would have wiped out all of their downstairs area, which is all their function rooms and conference rooms and everything else like that. So they stood at a doorway for 45 minutes and just constantly used squeegees and pushed the water back. So to me that was quite an epic struggle. I could imagine she would have had really sore arms after that. The other thing that Catherine, when I was listening to her story, spoke about that impacted upon me was her references to the helicopters and how she felt as though she was in a war zone, and this was in the aftermath after the flood. So she calls it her dark week. So trying to represent more than just one day for Catherine was quite challenging. The rescue and the rehabilitation and the resilience, you know, and in that also fending off inquiries from onlookers or the morbid curiosity of the public in wanting to know what happened, how did it happen, and so, you know, but trying to maintain professionally distant at the same time. So in the concept, I think Picnic Point, to me the most iconic icon within Toowoomba, one of them anyway, is the water tower. So we've used the water tower to symbolise Picnic Point and its location. I've incorporated in the design the water tower and the waterfall and also the steps, so the water rushing down. And in that we've got Catherine and a fellow worker, you know, using squeegees, pushing the water back from their concreted area. And also near the waterfall, I've got a couple of people with umbrellas, just to try and symbolise the deluge. And also one of them has their head back. You can't see their head, it's just all about the umbrellas, to indicate looking up at the helicopters and the actual, you know, trying the slow dawning of the meaning of the what the helicopters do and the rescue associated with that. Though they weren't overwhelmed by the water, I think Catherine and her workers physically struggled against the water and repelled the water, and I think to me that also shows, you know, the hard work that businesses want to put back into it. They're our community. Without the business houses, we're not here really, are we? So they were lucky, although they had water coming through their light fittings and there was some material damage, they had no loss of life. They weren't overwhelmed. What they had they could deal with, and I guess in the aftermath lots of people were able to put those same principles into practice and dealing with and getting on with it. This is a job we've got to do, so like pulling up your big socks and just getting on with what you've got to do to bounce back.